It's exciting times. It's exciting to be here. It's exciting to be talking about an outstanding player that in Terrence. Terrence is a guy that we know very well. It's been fun to watch him develop and go through his career. He visited here out of high school. He's obviously a young man from the in-state. So it's always nice to get them to come back home and want to come back home. So he's a very, very versatile player. He fits everything that we do. I'm excited about his athleticism. We're talking about one of the elite athletes in America. We're talking about a guy that is very, very versatile. He's become a much better shooter in college than he was in high school. I think he'll be a mid to high 30s, low 40s guy from three now as he continues to develop that part of his game. But an elite defender with just great speed, great anticipation. He's got a great feel for the game, and I think that he has proven that he's a winner. And he's done it at the highest levels. Obviously, a trip to the Final Four and being a part of a very successful program throughout his tenure. So we're excited to have him. He's a great fit. He blends in great. And in our post-Kofi stuff that we're going to have to do, he's a great addition as he can attack the rim and add that with his jumper and his. Our ability to play in transition. I expect him to be very Io-esque in terms of some of the same things Io did in transition. I think TJ can do. So very excited to have him.
Safe to say you haven't quite had a player like him with his particular skill set here.
Yeah, that's probably a fair assessment. I think we love his athleticism. We never. He's gotten really strong. He was a kind of a thin kid. As he's matured and grown in age, he's become physically very very strong. So very fair assessment. I mean, an elite athlete. I think he's got a chance to be one of the outstanding athletes in the Big Ten and not just in the Big Ten but in the country.
When can he get here?
He's got to finish. He'll finish his semester out, and he'll be here as soon as all that process administratively takes place.
Coach, this has been kind of a multi-year project to get longer and more versatile on the wing. Can you just talk to that and how that fits the style that you'd like to play?
Yeah, there's a great advantage in big wings, and we've been able to play a little bit smaller. We've gotten away with that with Kofi. But I look back at my Stephen F. Austin teams, my Oklahoma State teams. We had big wings, and they were great rebounders and very versatile. And if you're not going to have 7 foot 300 in the middle, you better figure out how to rebound and do some things. But the versatility that brings for us, what we do on the defensive side, it really excites me. And all these guys can guard multiple positions, and TJ's. With his physicality, his understanding, he's been a part of elite defensive teams. That really is a great fit for us.
You talked about having a relationship with TJ. I know you had one with Dan before you brought him here too. Can you describe the importance or maybe how much easier it makes it to recruit someone out of the portal when you have that existing relationship?
Yeah, it makes it easy when they're in the portal. It makes it very hard when they're not because you're recruiting them all in hopes now that you get guys through the portal. So. Yeah, there's familiarity, and obviously, Terrence was on campus. He's been on campus multiple times, and so there's a lot of things different now with the Ubben expansion going on with our success. So it's a little different look, a little different feel for him, but obviously there's tremendous advantage to have knowledge of each other both ways.
How do you kind of see the potential of his leadership as a guy who's, you mentioned, been to the Final Four, been playing for a long time, but not necessarily knowing how things work here?
Sure. No, I think he's he's a guy that I think will provide experience. I think he'll provide tremendous work ethic. Terrence is an elite worker. He hasn't gotten to be a draft pick by by not working, and he hasn't changed his body by not working. So I think that there's multiple facets to his leadership, and obviously being older and having a tremendous amount of success can be great for our younger guys.
How do you feel like you guys were able to get him 4 years later? Like, what was the important factors that kind of led into this coming together now?
Yeah, I think it was fit. I think it was, the idea of coming home. I think that, all those things have come into play with him. I think he's, he feels like our development can be terrific and help him get where he wants to go. He's ultimately chasing that that next level dream. We had success with a guy that he knows very, very well in Io. So I think there were a lot of great talking points that he felt very comfortable with.
How much do you feel like he's maybe matured off the court since he was here for that official visit so many years ago?
Well, I think he's developed in every aspect. I think maturity. He's not an 18-year-old, 17, 18-year-old kid anymore. He's a 22-year-old adult, and that's just the natural process of maturation. Obviously, his game's much better, but as a human being, you live through experiences, and he's done that, and he's had some really good ones when it comes to basketball. So we're excited to have that addition.
Position-wise, where do you think he fits? And can he
Everywhere.
Can he be on the court at the same time as RJ, for example?
Oh, I wouldn't be shocked if I play 5 wings. Why not? Watch Golden State. No centers in that league now. I mean, it's unless you're Joel Embiid or whoever. There are very few, so it's 5 wings and get big wings and let's go. And I don't know. We may. We can throw a lot of different lineups out there. So I have no idea until I get them all together what that'll look like. But I know his versatility will be well received on the practice court.
You said no idea. That said, how much are you planning and already have an idea what you want to do, and how tightly do you hold on to that without everybody together?
I have a plan, but again, we're still not done. There's still another round of this to evaluate, and I'm a very visual guy. I can plan a lot of things, but until I actually see them on the court and gelling together and working together, I often have something in mind and I change it. And I'm studying a lot of film of some things that I think I like with this group, but again, until I actually can visualize that on the court in June or whenever that is, we had to do a lot of changing this year. So I can visualize it all I want, but until I actually see him on the court, we'll never know.
Terrence was kind of that first wave of the portal there in March. How important is kind of patience in this process as he kind of worked through visiting other schools and then coming here?
Patience for us is everything. I say it all the time, character over characters, and it goes with talent and finding the right pieces. And to me, putting the puzzle together is something that you just don't jump at the first thing if it's not the right thing. And we've been very selective. We haven't had a ton of guys on our campus for that very reason. And this thing goes in waves. Yet that's not to say if we didn't get somebody right away, 2 days after they were in the portal, if we knew they fit, we would take them. But so we've been patient, and we feel great about Terrence, and we know he's going to be the right piece.
What stands out about how his game has evolved over the last 3 years at Texas Tech?
Yeah, his versatility. He's obviously become a really good shooter. When we recruited him out of high school, I thought he had a chance to be one of the best two-way players in the country because he was a lockdown defender. On the EYBL circuit, he could shut anybody down. That hasn't changed. But he's improved his jump shot. He's a great attacker downhill. He's gotten better in ball screens. They've played in a lot more motion than ball screens, but I think that'll be an area where we can continue to help grow his game. But again, I see him as a guy that just excels in what we do with his speed, with his transition, with his ability to get in the paint and finish. I just see a guy that can be very, very productive.
The way you've built this, Coach, over the last 5 years, do you feel like you're in a spot now where you can be more selective with the kids that you take?
Yes and yes. I think I've always tried to be very selective. Where there misses, there's always going to be misses. But I think that I've tried to be very selective in terms of the portal because as I call it, it's speed dating, and you want to have as much information as you can possibly have, and we have a lot in this case. So that we felt very good about that, and with Dane at semester, we had a lot of information. So we knew exactly what we were diving into. We had a lot with Alfonso, and so I'm excited about the guys, the job our guys are doing, researching these guys, not just through synergy and what they do on the court, but also their fit in the locker room.
You said you're still looking to add. What areas of the team would you like to see additions?
Well, if we had another athletic big run around or walk through the building, that could provide depth there, would be great. But we'll see. We've still got multiple scholarships. I may leave one or two open. Again, we'll see. Again, we're going to be selective and not just take somebody that doesn't fit or in a year transfers. So we like to be able to develop guys and make sure that they're improving and doing their part, but most importantly, they fit our locker room.
Can you explain the importance of getting more athletic on the perimeter and getting bigger on the perimeter at the same time?
Yeah, it's been a 2-year process. It's something we've been working really hard to do. Literally a 3-year process, going back to Jake and Hutch in that class, and obviously this past year, making sure that we're more athletic there. The more athletic you are, the more versatile you can be, and the size, and having guys that can shoot over and post up switches and do all those things. So it's been something that we've been able to get away with a little bit, again mainly because of Kofi, but not having him, we've got to be able to get those guys averaging 6, 7, 8 rebounds a game, and will allow us to play a little differently.
Terrence missed some time with the back. Is there any concern that could be a long-term thing, or do you think it was kind of an isolated deal? Yeah, it was isolated. He feels as close to 100% as he has in a long time. That's the beauty, I think, of having an off season. It's also an advantage of having a great strength coach in Adam Fletcher, and make sure that we get that thing as close to back to normal as possible. But he's in a good shape right now. He's working out every day. He's playing pickup, so he's in a good spot, and said he feels great.
You talked about the patience, but there's another deadline approaching here in less than a month. Do you have your eye on June 1st and the NBA withdrawal date?
Oh, absolutely. We'd be foolish if we didn't. That's an important time, and we know that there's 300 plus guys in the draft this year. There's 60 spots, and so you've got to understand that there's going to be a multitude of guys that are going to go through the process, and then they're going to pull out, and we'll see what their portal availability is and what they've done, and we'll do the best we can to be in those making those calls when they happen if they fit us.
Over the last couple of times we talked, you mentioned the possibility of a Maymester for some of these freshmen. I don't know that we've seen you maybe utilize that a lot. Do you know how many guys could be on the table for that?
Still to be determined. A lot of that has to do when their classes end. So it hasn't been an option for certain guys because they may not finish until June. But right now that we feel pretty good about a couple guys. There's a tremendous amount of administrative work that goes into that to get them admitted. So it's still a day-to-day process, something we're working on. But we hope to have a nice group of those guys here in May if it all works.
And then I guess I know when you talked to Dane, he talked about training with Tim Anderson. He was a teenager, and then he had Sky and Terrence coming up to Paul, and he knows Ty Rodgers as well. In this kind of new era of player movement, how much does someone having that kind of network help you guys or pay dividends?
Yeah, it's pretty big. Yeah, it's pretty big. You've got to have those connections throughout. Recruiting is all about relationships, and it's not just the fact that it happens this year because of the portal. It's connections above and beyond, and you've got to have familiarity with coaches or with high school coaches or with parents or whatever it may be. So that hasn't changed, but Tim's got strong relationships with those guys, and it's worked our way so far this year to be pretty beneficial.
Tyler has a pretty rough job tracking the portal.
Ty-
Can you talk about that and how big he's been in this whole process?
Yeah, Tyler's had to work, man. He's, we have him, every young guy that comes into the portal, pulling up synergy, pulling up film, pulling up clips. Some are a little easier to determine than others, whether they fit at the Big Ten level. But it's dispersing that to assistant coaches, and then it's letting coaches figure out if we got connections, if we got an opportunity to recruit that young man. Then it's more film, and he's had to be very, very busy. But Patrick Biddle, our video guy, has been right there by his side, and so those guys have been grinding pretty good through 1,600 portal entries all year.
Logistically, Brad, when you guys go to kind of reimagine your new style of offense, how do you do that? I know you've done it before in the past. Do you and your coaches sit around and kind of say, this is what we've done here? How much give and take back and forth, even though your roster still has some work to do?
Yeah, I don't tie them in a lot yet. We've talked about how we want to play, so they know what we're looking for. But just the sheer X's and O's of it, I don't know yet. So I'm looking at a lot of things. I'm more concerned right now with what we're doing defensively than offensively. How those changes might benefit us. I've gone back to things I liked in 2010, 2013, and watching clips of different teams and styles and things I've done. So it's you try to pair your current team and roster, what it is right now, with something you've liked over the years, and see if it fits and works. So we'll piece it together. We've got a little time yet, but it's never very far from the forethought of what we do every day.
Can you explain how fun it is for you to be able to kind of go through and watch some of that stuff and reimagine how you're going to play in the new offseason?
It's fun. I enjoy watching film. I enjoy the challenge of scheming. That's one of the things I love the most about coaching is doing that. But you've got to we can all come up with X's and O's, and we can all come up with this or that. But if it doesn't fit your team, and it doesn't fit what you're wanting to accomplish, it'll be all for naught. So until I'm visual, so I got to start to see it together on the court and how it looks. And we got 4 freshmen I'm excited about, and what their abilities are, and I haven't seen them wear the orange and blue practice jersey yet. So we'll continue to work with it and grow, but it is fun. Even
with just 13 scholarships, the number crunching can get kind of complicated. Are you starting to get an idea of how many you're going to have to give in future classes?
I don't know if I think we're in a new time. I used to worry about, okay, we've got 2 or 3 guys, and I think we're more in a time of expect 6, 7, 8 every year. I just think that's the maybe 10. I think when you're at the lower levels, especially, be more of a junior college coach. I was always, when I was a junior college coach, if I had fewer than 10 scholarships every year, I was panicked. I was worried that I wouldn't be good enough. So it was always about going to get 8 to 10 guys. I think those days are coming, and I think we're going to continue to see the portal. I think we're going to continue to see NIL used as a tool to go into the portal. I think we'll have to wait and see how everything shakes out with one-time transfers and all the waivers that could come. But it gets awful hard to look too far in the future today. Thanks, guys.